I've had a very challenging life. I'll bet you have too. In my opinion, most people here on Earth do not have a healthy paradigm regarding challenge. Instead, we often suffer and shut down when faced with difficulty. This is understandable. Nevertheless, it's important in life to develop a way of being that allows us to meet and pass through challenge in a fruitful way. Think about a garden, a bed of soil. Once you plant a seed in that soil, it faces an extended struggle. First, it must break open only to find itself in the dark. It pushes itself upward to the light. After the seedling arrives at the light, it soon realizes that not only is its struggle not finished, it has barely begun. After an extended period of steadily but perhaps monotonously growing as stem and leaf, that once seed is disrupted by a bud. What is this? That seed may wonder in dismay. How do I do this? Is this really me? As it comes to bloom, the seed becomes something completely different than it ever was before. And that is not even the end. The next stages of fruit and then the seeding come upon it. Observing the struggle and transformation of the plant from the outside is fascinating. We feel we are witnessing the miraculous. We forget to observe with that lens for ourselves and our own struggle. Challenge is the process of birth, the process of transformation, the process of creation. What was before has to be disrupted to make room for what is coming. It's not always the most pleasant experience, but we can learn to trust the purpose in challenge and be at peace with struggle and growth. Perhaps at this time, you are challenged by poverty or some similar lack or difficulty regarding money. Many people faced with poverty come to the following conclusion. That's it, I don't have money, God didn't give me money, life didn't hand me money. I can't really do this because I'll upset the order of the universe. This lack is fundamental to who I am. This reality is the end of the story. I'm going to stay this way forever. I used to believe that experiencing a state of lack and being challenged by it meant that something was really wrong, that I was a failure. It meant I was inherently weak, inadequate, and more deficient than other human beings. I defaulted to affirming my own helplessness. I believed that my state of poverty was a message from the universe that it wanted me to or intended for me to remain in poverty. It's the exact opposite. The state of poverty you may currently be in is your call to wealth. It is the universe giving you a message of yes, not a message of no. The state of poverty is your invitation to the struggle, the challenge, the birth of wealth. Your challenge is your call. Your struggle is your opportunity. This applies to any life area of lack, but we will continue to confine ourselves herein to speaking of money. The desert is a call for rain. The reason there is a pearl is because first there was a grain of sand. Our own grain of sand focuses our attention. A current reality of lack, or as we believe, pulls our attention toward that life area. Indeed, it's all we can think about sometimes. But understand that that grain of sand, that irritating attention, is there not because the universe doesn't want you to create a pearl, rather because the universe does call and invite you to create a pearl there. You will create something new and wonderful from the fertile material of your personal weakness and tragedies. There is treasure in every challenge. Speaking of fertile material, you will perhaps have already heard that favorite funny story of two young men who were assigned to clean out the horse stall, each provided with shovels. One of the young men had a reaction we might consider normal. He was not exactly happy about the prospect of shoveling manure all day long. There were so many downsides to that. His energy and countenance corresponded with his understanding. But he noticed that his companion dug right in and seemed unreasonably excited and was working unwaveringly with a huge grin on his face. The first young man asked the second young man, "Why are you so happy about this job?" The second replied, "Well, with all this manure, there has to be a pony somewhere." The first could only see the soil and didn't think much of it. The second could see the blossom and the fruit that would arise from the soil and held the emerging possibilities to be priceless. As you go forward through the pathway to cash, you will be taking on the challenge of money. Giving birth to your money experience comes by the process of challenge. This doesn't always mean the struggle has to be hard or depressing. We can learn ways of being that ease the difficulty and emotional charge. But we don't necessarily want all sense of effort to be removed from us. Effort can be part of the fun. The money was already given to you when you were given the challenge. The money is within the challenge of money. You've already been found worthy of the challenge. The fact that the challenge is before you is the sign of your worthiness to be challenged. The transformation of the journey will correspondingly yield a you that becomes worthy of the money that will flow from your deciphering of the struggle. So how do we begin to unwrap our challenge so that we can access and experience the gift inside? What is the first element of that paradigm and way of being? It is to be willing. Many human beings have a willingness problem. I can't make money, they might say, or something along those lines. This is simply not the case. One could go out and tap dance on the corner and put a hat out or fill in the blank with some unacceptable method. But are you going to do that? And I'm guessing no. Why not? Because you're not willing to do that particular activity. It doesn't fit your expectations and triggers uncomfortable thoughts and emotions. But you could tap dance on a corner. There's really nothing stopping you in terms of the greater universe. It's not an actual problem out in the universe. It is, rather, a willingness problem inside of you. I use an absurd example to highlight the issue of willingness. We do get to make choices about what we want to do when it comes to navigating the money challenge. We do get to make choices based on our preferences, about how much energy we put out, about how our choices affect those we love, and etc. But it is important to understand these choices not as absolute issues of can or can't, rather as our basket of won'ts or will. These choices we make are matters of being willing or unwilling. When faced with a challenge that requires something of you, and all challenges will make new, uncomfortable requirements of you, do not rest in or believe in the absolute can't. Simply realize the conditions that are to be met in order to draw the harvest from the challenge. Choose to become who you need to be. Find a way to meet those conditions. Learn and practice the energy adjustments required. Or own your decision not to go forward. Own your unwillingness. It's okay if you have other priorities, but don't lie to yourself by saying you can't. See clearly the won't choices you are making. Think of the climb up Mount Everest. Some people make this climb. Not everyone does. But understand this as a won't, not a can't. And really, it's okay. You can say, I won't climb Mount Everest, and continue having a completely satisfying, significant life full of experiences you do prefer. However, those who do choose to climb Mount Everest make great preparation and persist through great challenge. Here's the thing. Mount Everest is always there. The view from Mount Everest is always there. Mount Everest and its spectacular view and the possible experience of climbing to that view is an integral part of the universe. There is no can't because it's there. Rather, living that experience in real time is a matter of the willingness to meet the conditions to experience that climb and that view. And here's another example of where the effort is part of the fun. Those who climb Mount Everest want to feel the burn, so to speak. It's okay if you choose willingness or unwillingness for that particular experience, but it's important to understand it as a matter of willingness. Each of us have our own Mount Everests. We may speak of the experience of money as a view that may be had after a climb and the preparation for that climb. So if the experience of money is important to you, if you choose it, then be prepared to lay down your unwillingness and step into willingness. Be willing. Be willing for money. Be willing for the money challenge and the choice and energy requirements it will call forth from you, the transformation of you that the challenge will effect. When contemplating a big life change, many people do their best to gather up their confidence in order to be able to persist long enough to accomplish what is in their mind's eye and what their heart is calling them to do. We want this drug, confidence, to ease the discomfort of the challenge. Often we find that our cup of confidence only has a few drops in it. We feel stalled, and we may start listening to a lot of confidence audios, and by all means, don't let me stop you from that great habit. We stand in front of the mirror, paste a smile on, do a Rocky-style jog in place, and say, I've got this, I can do this, yeah man, gonna shred this. Except we might not really mean it. It's more like we are trying to convince ourselves. We may promise ourselves a given outcome. I will be a millionaire within the next 12 months. I'm making a commitment. Thus, having generated a high emotional charge, we begin until we lose steam. Or we never begin, not really, but we purchase another confidence course. Confidence, courage, commitment, these are wonderful energy states, and we definitely can take steps to cultivate them. But they are very high energy states. Mastering them is a challenge process all on its own. Courage and commitment take practice. You can't necessarily turn them on just because you want to if you've never been in those states before and don't know how they work or how to maintain them constantly. Thankfully, though, we don't have to wait to act within the money challenge until we feel good. We don't have to get rid of the discomfort before acting and persisting. We persist during the discomfort. Willingness trumps courage and commitment every time. Most people won't make this choice. Once the discomfort has switched on, they take that as a stopping point. Persons who healthily decipher their challenges do not have the stopping response to discomfort. They persist through the discomfort. When the discomfort switches on, they laugh and say, it's working. Passing through the journey of the 4 stepping stones is likely unfamiliar territory to you. Of course, it is not always going to feel good. There will be many points at which you will wonder what you have gotten yourself into. Resist the temptation to believe that if things become difficult, that something has gone wrong, and that necessarily there is no longer any worth in the journey nor in the hoped-for outcome. And vice versa, neither place greater worth on things just because they are difficult. The easy may be valuable too. Simply let your body have the reactions it needs to have to the choices you are making and the new steps you are taking. Say a gentle hi to these reactions. Keep a loose hold on the feelings. Let them come, let them go. Don't draw any conclusions or feel the need to shape the reactions into tight beliefs. Be patient. Act on solutions. Persist. Be willing. Be willing to take the next baby step, then the next one. You don't have to commit to all the steps in a given challenge all at once. Rather, you become willing for the next step. And that is the manner in which I prepared this series, step by step. Willingness will take you a long way and get stuff done before you ever truly figure out the courage, confidence, and commitment factors. Willingness is one of those deep laws that underlie the creation and reception of anything, including money. There are those who ride bucking horses for fun. They don't ride the bucking horse to have it be over. They ride for the ride. That's what I want you to do for your life, including its challenges. Ride that mess. The ride itself is glorious. I have 2 homework assignments for you now. First, spend the next 24 hours pondering the can'ts in your life, particularly those that affect your current money experience. I'm not asking you to make promises, plans, nor new choices, beliefs, and decisions. Not right now. Simply notice. Untangle the knot of the can't a little until you can see and feel the won'ts, the unwillingness. Accept your unwillingness and own your previous decisions. And then perhaps loosen your hold on your unwillingness a little as we go on to learn new principles. Be willing to notice all your body reactions as you continue through the upcoming Pathway to Cash assignments. Be patient and gentle with yourself, yet continue. Allow a general sense of willingness for the money challenge and its emerging gifts to pervade your body, your mind, your heart, and yourself. The second homework assignment is to open a cash journal, either a notebook and pen or in a word processing document or a notes app on your phone. Date the first entry as the date you listened to the Pathway to Cash series introduction. Note on that day how much money you had in a combination of cash on hand as well as in checking accounts. Do not include assets or savings. Date any other entries for any other moment since that time when you received money. Anything from your paycheck to if you picked up a penny off the ground and kept it. You do not need to add up or tabulate the total amount. Going forward, simply make a dated entry every time you receive money and note how much in that instance. If there truly has been no flow in this amount of time, note the date of first listening to the introduction and write 0, but smile while you do it. That 0 is a seed in the soil. Welcome to the Pathway to Cash course. Visit my channel to start at the beginning of learning and practice. I can't guarantee results for you. Please discuss the principles and actions I share with your financial professional.